guys, welcome back to the Average Prodigy. I'm Eli, and today we are joined with Jonathan Holmes. Jonathan, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. So, if you guys are not familiar with who Jonathan Holmes is, he played basketball for the University of Arkansas for 3 years before leaving the team. And Johnny, do you just want to kind of give a little background on how you, from high school, how you got to the college basketball level?
Dude, 100%, man. So basically, all I did was just a bunch of hard work because I was a small kid from a small town that didn't ever get any looks at all. No AAU team really took a chance on me whenever I went to these tryouts and stuff. They all just said that I was too small to be their point guard or be one of their off guards, which like I totally understood, but at the same time, didn't really think that was a great excuse.
Mhm.
I had people in middle school always like it was always my dream to play a college sport, whether that was football, basketball, baseball. Um, but basically, I had like people in middle school, I had coaches in middle school tell me that I wasn't ever gonna make it as to to the highest level of competition. And I just used that to fuel my fire every single day when I went in and kept putting in that extra work outside of practice in the summer, all two-a-days, all that other stuff. But basically, from high school, I was a freshman. I was on the freshman team. I played a little bit of JV, but like that was pretty much it. Varsity never really looked at me as a player or whatever. I was still super small, still trying to grow and get my body in shape. But it's all good with that. Sophomore year, I played mostly JV. I was on the varsity team, but that was pretty much just because our varsity team wasn't very good. And we had a couple extra roster spots. So our coach was like, yeah, we'll go ahead and start building for the future. We'll bring up all these sophomores or whatever and see what happens. So that only reason why I was on varsity. I never played. So JV was my main thing. But let me tell you, JV basketball, man, that stuff is fun, bro. That stuff was
Yeah.
a blast, man. You play in front of like 10 people, but like, dude, that stuff was fun, man. It really was.
Yeah.
It was just that was a good time just being able to play with my friends and kind of just relax and just enjoy the game because whenever I'm always like kind of down on myself or always I was kind of struggling through practice, I always just look back and I'm like, man, this is why I'm playing, man. It's supposed to be fun. So
Hmm.
I always had to look back on and just think about all the good times I used to have, and normally it just brings some life back into me when I'm practicing or playing or whatever.
Yeah.
But then we get to my junior year. And my junior year, something clicked with me about being like a competitor. I always thought I was a competitive person growing up, but
Hmm.
we were at this summer tournament and up in Monmouth, Illinois. It was like this shootout going on, and I don't know what happened, but it was me and my little brother. My little brother was a freshman at the time. He was on varsity because he's an unreal athlete.
Yeah.
So he was playing varsity with us, and something clicked where like I was just like, man, I'm not losing this game. I'm not trying to lose anymore.
Hmm.
And for that, like I was just trying to go like beast mode on everybody. Man, I was trying to take over the game, trying to win it, all
Yeah.
that stuff. That like moment, I could tell you where it was, and like it was just like after that, I kind of just took off with, training 2 a days or 2 times a day, making sure like I'm eating right, getting my body in shape, getting my mind right with all that. I was trying not to think negative about myself and just trying to change my whole entire mindset about going about the game and going about life. So that kind of was the takeoff for everything. So senior year came around. I had nobody really looking at me. The summer before my senior year, I was trying out for a bunch of AAU teams like the St. Louis Eagles. At the time, they're the Brad Beal Elite now, but like the St. Louis Eagles at the time,
Yeah.
called Team Gateway, which is a team out of St. Louis. And then there was a couple of the smaller teams that like we would have just done like some traveling stuff. Like it would have been like something super small,
Hmm.
but none of that stuff worked out. I literally heard the same exact result from everybody. I was too small to play, and I was just, bro, I'm like, I hate this, man. I've been being told this for like 18 years. I'm like, I'm done with this, man.
Yeah.
Uh, Me and a couple buddies just so we can keep playing around. Me and a couple buddies just got a team together, and we just played in these like just little rag tournaments just to keep us playing, keep us hooping
Hmm.
together. But I was so frustrated because I was like, man, why won't anybody take a chance on me? I was like, maybe I just, so my mindset changed again. I was like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and I got to make my own way. I got to make my own path.
Yeah.
my senior season came around, and I only had like D3 school. I had 2 D3 schools. I had 1 JUCO school, and then there was like a very small D2 school was looking at me, and that was pretty much it. All the D3 schools were like local schools, so like they had like known about Colombia or my high school and kind
Yeah.
of heard about it, so they were coming to watch us just for everybody. So that was pretty much only reason why they were there. But we get into heart of senior year, and I was like, man, I'm gonna start. We got into this in this Belleville tournament, like this Chick-fil-A tournament, where we were playing a bunch of D1 stars. We played a kid from Mizzou, kid who goes to Ohio State, kid from, and a team that had just a bunch of Division I athletes. And I was like, all right, man, this is my time to shine. This is the time to see all this work, kind of pay off. And, thankfully, I was able to kill it in that tournament. And that gave me so much confidence going forward that I was like, man, I know I can play with these dudes. Like, I always thought I could, but like that kind of just confirmed it with me.
Yeah.
Against these guys. So we get all the way to the end of the season. It ends. There's still no big schools. It's all the same schools still looking at me. I was like, I was on nobody's radar. So I was like, all right, man, it's time to pave my own way. So I just started sending film out to all the schools that I was looking to apply to just to come to school to. So it was like, I sent my stuff up to the University of Illinois here, Butler, and then there was one other school. I can't remember what it was. Like Illinois State, maybe? Illinois State or Bradley. Oh, it's Bradley. Bradley, which is like a smaller Division I school.
Mm-hmm.
Only heard back from Arkansas. And I was like, all right, man. I'm like, I've never been to Arkansas before. I don't know Arkansas. I was like, you know what? I'm like, let's just do it. I'm like, let's just see what happens. So when my mom and I were like doing our tours and stuff, she was like, don't be making your decision based off basketball. She's like, make sure you're picking like the school you want to go to. And I was like, yeah, all right, that's all good. I was like, I'm going to Arkansas. Like, only reason is I have a chance to play Division I basketball. So that summer before coming up here, I was in the gym, on the field, outside working out every single day. I don't think I took a day off in that summer. I was just going at it because I was like, oh, I'm only gonna have one chance. I got to make the most of it.
Mm-hmm.
So just kept working my butt off all the way through that summer before I came up here, and then got on campus in the fall of 17, and fall of 17, yeah, that's right. And I was like, all right, man. I was like, I gotta find the date, man. I'm gonna circle that, and then after that, I can have fun with whatever works out, whatever. So I didn't know anybody. I hardly was talking to anybody. I mean, I was trying to be social and like in class and stuff, trying to make friends, but like I wasn't like going out. I wasn't doing anything. I was just like, I'm focused on getting this spot and going to work.
Yeah.
So I was going into the hyper, going into our like rec gym and just playing pickup, working out every single day. And I was just like, you know what, I can have fun later. It's all good. So that day came. It was in the middle of October. There was like probably 25 people there. All of us were trying to, achieve the same thing of just trying to get on a Division I team and trying to get a chance at playing Division I basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And, thankfully, like I was able to just, go at it and just show the competitiveness that I had and all the work that I put in, and, it all paid off. I was able to get a call from Coach Thurman when I was walking back from class, one of our old assistant coaches. And I just remember walking back from class, and I was just like, it was at like 6:30 at night. So like I just got out of a lab, and I just remember hearing that call, and like I just like dropped on my knees, and I was just like, man, I was like, everything's finally paid off, man. I was like, all those hours, I was literally, people probably looking at me like I was crazy, man. But I was literally on my knees on the middle of the campus, just like tearing up, just talking to them. I was just, I couldn't stop saying thank you for taking me in, and because it's tough being a Division I team and taking in some random kid that you've never heard anything about. So I was just so thankful and just super blessed with the opportunity to do it. And we get up to my first practice. I just remember I was so nervous on my practice, man. My first practice, I was like, all right, man, I was like super shaky. I wasn't like shooting the ball or anything. I just really wasn't myself.
Yeah.
And Coach Thurman came up and he's like, hey, man, he goes, you can play. He goes, just be yourself, dude. Just relax, man. Nobody's going to give you a hard time or anything. It's all good.
Mhm.
So after like a couple weeks, I finally was able to like get after myself, and I was like, all right, man, I can. I started getting comfortable with everybody, and just started hooping. It was all good after that. Made some of my best friends that I'll have on that team or on that in my career through college. I mean, they're gonna be my brothers for life. But just every single season, I just kept working and working and working, and it just eventually kept paying dividends all the way throughout until I got to like my junior year, where I had to leave the team before my senior year because we got a new coach. I was able to get all the way up to scholarship, which was a tremendous opportunity, man. That was my next goal when I got on the team. I was like, all right, now what's next? I got to get on scholarship, and then try and get more playing time. But I was able to get up to scholarship. That was a tremendous achievement. And then Coach Musselman came in, which I mean, I have no hard feelings for him as a coach. Like, I totally understood why he did it, but he told me that I wasn't gonna be on scholarship the next year or whatever because he had different plans with the team. And I was like, you know what, I didn't want to restart and go back from basically square one for another season. If I had another 5 seasons left, like the NBA or whatever, I would have done it in a heartbeat. But I was like, I had 1 season left. I was like, you know what, I'm not going to go put myself through it because being a walk-on is tough. I mean, not a lot of people understand how much work you have to put in to be on the team, be around the team, and like, for that 1 minute you're in to try and make the fit. I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah.
That 1 minute is crazy. But, he came in and said I wasn't going to scholarship, and I was like, all right, I'm not going to start from square one. So I was just like, you know what, these guys are gonna have fun. Like, Lord, it's the end of my journey, which was fine. So I kind of just saw it as a sign from God too, that I was able to open some other doors for different opportunities for me to go out, start working, start pouring some positive influence on other people in the workforce. So it was super cool. Kind of see everybody grow as a team. It was cool to kind of see it from afar instead of being like, kind of in this bubble or whatever of just being on the team. But yeah, that's pretty much my story in a nutshell.
Man, that's awesome. I mean, that's awesome. And that's why I like talking to walk-ons specifically. It's just because the stories like that no one knows about, and it's just like that's just such a shame because that is insane.
Yeah,
Um,
that's part of my podcast that I'm going to be putting out is just being able to hear these athletes' stories of kind of where they came from, because not a lot of people know. A lot of people just see them as just, oh, they had a bunch of success when they were growing up, like, oh, they've done everything the right way, like they're perfect, like superheroes. It's kind of just to give them a little bit of background, be like, oh yeah, these guys are people too, like
yeah.
that. Yeah. So
Um, so a lot of times with like entrepreneurship, people talk about like that luck, like that you just like hit that time when you just like lucky and you put
right.
in a ton of work, but I think that set you up for a lot of opportunities of luck. What was that like moment whenever you were like, I think I got a little bit lucky here at the same time that I got.
Oh man, dude, I think it was my first basket I scored. That shot, I to this day I still don't know how that thing went in.
Mm-hmm.
I literally got the ball at the top of the key, and everybody just moved. Everybody was like, Johnny, you got to go score. Like, you got to go do your thing. I was like, all right, man, it's all good. Like, let's try it. So I had the ball. We're playing Georgia. I got the ball at the top of the key. I do like a spin move at the top, get
Mm-hmm.
around I was able to get a pretty good position on him, and I just started driving towards the baseline at least. And I couldn't see the rim. I like faded away off like my right foot and like threw it up with one hand, just bucketed. I could not believe it went in because I couldn't see the rim. The dude was just all over me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that was the moment where I was like, okay, that was a little lucky, but at the same time, like, it was almost not like to sound selfish or anything, but it was almost like I kind of deserved that ball to go in because of all the hours and stuff. I was like, okay, now, and then it just took it took the lid off the basket, and after that, the rest of it was history after that. So that was the moment where I was like, okay, that was kind of lucky. That wasn't really what I was working on or whatever, but I was like, I'm glad that went in because, that kind of just solidified everything over the past, 4 years that I was working on my game.
Right, right. So I want to go back and get like a little bit more specific. So like whenever you realized that you were going to have a chance to walk on to Arkansas, what were some of the workouts that you did like in specific to leading up to that tryout?
And a lot of cardio because I kind of was built like a football player. I was kind of thicker.
Hmm.
Um, I wasn't I wasn't very wasn't very fast. I wasn't very my quickness, my lateral quickness wasn't really there. Um, just because I was just so used to like doing all this heavy lifting and these sprints and stuff, just super quick things. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try and cut some weight here. I'm just gonna do. So I was running about, man, it was probably about a mile to 2 mile every single day,
Hmm.
depending on the heat, because it's hot up in Illinois, man. It's hot.
Yeah.
Um, so like I would do like a mile to 2 miles every single day. I'd run hills, and then in the weight room, hills and stairs. I didn't have a bike, so I've never really rode my bike anywhere. But so a lot of cardio, and then in the weight room, I was lifting some pretty decent sized weight, but I wasn't trying to max out ever. I was like, okay, you know what, let's do less weight but more reps, just to try and get like a little bit more tone, a little bit more in shape, get a better sweat going on in the weight room. And then in the gym, it was just everything. I mean, off the gun, shooting like 600 shots a day, uh, at least 600 threes, free throws, countless free throws, and then just working on my ball handling, just getting more conditioning in the gym, just getting that kind of that I don't know, that conditioning up in the gym rather than being outside. Um, and then just helping. I was also just trying to help out other people too, like talking to other people about my game and talking to them about how they can better their game. I was able to see like different opportunities for me to grow too. So that was super cool as well. Being able to help out with all these camps and stuff that we had going on, that was also super cool. But pretty much just a lot of cardio, a lot of reps in the weight room, but with less weight, and then just reps on reps on reps in the gym.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. And I also love how you said that you were able to help other people out the same time that you're going through that process.
Oh yeah, it was. Thankfully, I was able to. My high school coach was like, "Yeah, why don't you come back and help out with our basketball camp?" I was like, "Dude, I'd love to do that, man. That's super cool. Being able to kind of go back from square one and just see where all these kids are at." And so I able to help these guys out, like simple stuff like coming off a ball screen. Like just I'm like, oh man, that'd be kind of cool if you can do this and this or whatever. And all the kids loved it too. They just thought it was a blast. So
Yeah.
it was fun being able to give back to the community and kind of help out all those kids as well. I mean, that's the plan whenever I get home is to start working and I'll volunteer coach at our high school again. And just help those kids grow and help them achieve whatever they want to achieve. So,
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So you're grinding all summer, and so you start talking and sending your film out to these schools. So whenever you sent the film out, uh, did you? So you probably did it through email, right?
oh yeah,
So whenever you sent the email, what were some of the things that you like included in there about like yourself,
I,
maybe?
I give them all the like my height, my weight, kind of what I could do, what I was working on, and then I also, thankfully, I mean, I'm glad my high school coach kind of helped me out a little bit. He was able to send some personal emails himself. I was able to get a couple other coaches to send some other stuff out. But basically, it was just like my height, weight, what I could do, kind of a little bit about my background of where I came from, and
Hmm.
then just, man, I was just hoping that one school was able to just look at it and be like, oh wow, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Okay. So I like that because actually, my goal is kind of be similar to you. So I'm from a small
Yeah,
town in Indiana,
yeah,
small farm town, similar to your path, and I want to walk onto a school as well. Um,
that's awesome, dude.
obvious,
That's a
obvious.
great. It's a once in a lifetime deal, man. If you're gonna do it, go
Hmm.
all out. It was literally one of the most fun 3 years of my entire life, man.
Yeah.
All opportunities, all different traveling, all the traveling you get to do, all the different stadiums, like. Dude, all there, like walking into Rupp Arena, man. That stuff. I'm just like, dude, I'm like, what am I doing here, bro? It's just crazy. So you're gonna. I mean, I really hope you make it, man. I mean, you're a really good kid.
Hmm.
Just working, dude. That's all I can say is just keep working, bro.
Yeah, for sure. So something that I was, or that like I'm kind of like thinking about in that sense is like, what is your role as a walk-on? Because obviously you're not going to be like the star of the show, the
Right,
star of the team. So
right.
what's your actual role on the team?
So all it is, my freshman year was just to come in and basically just be just someone, just a position filler, just give someone a break, just kind of do whatever when we're scrimmaging or in drills. Like in drills, we were just working on everything. I was able to participate in drills and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
basically, much when we scrimmage was just to give people a break. That was my role as a freshman. Sophomore year, developed a little bit more. I was able to have a little bit more influence on the newer guys just because I had a year of experience under my belt. So I was kind of able to show them different tips and tricks and stuff about practice and what I saw during the games, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And also, I was kind of doing the same thing. I was just pretty much there to give people breaks and kind of just there for moral support or
Hmm.
whatever. But and then my junior year I would say it was a bigger role. Not a lot of people were able to see kind of behind. I was more of like a behind the scenes type dude.
Yeah.
Um, I was participating a lot more in the scrimmages. Like I was playing a lot more, which was a blast. Drills and stuff. I was getting my skills down to where I was able to do really well in those.
Hmm.
Like one-on-one stuff, they were letting me do all the one-on-one stuff with these guys. Helping people break down film, just watching film with these guys, and then also just like building relationships with people. Man, it's like they come to the bench and they're all mad about getting pulled out of the game and just being able to like develop that relationship with them to where they can come and sit down at the end of the bench with you. And you can just talk to them, man. Just be like, hey, man, it's all good. Like, this is what I'm seeing. And, uh, you know, it, it's really cool being a walk-on because you get to see everything in practice, get to transfer to the games. And then, like the crowd doesn't see you practice. They don't really know what's going on. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, he does that one move. And it's like, oh, that's, he's been working on that every single day. Also, with a lot of it is just moral support and kind of just supporting the whole team. It's tough, man. It wears on you, but it's really cool. It's a really cool thing when you see like, oh yeah, I was helping him work on that, or we've been working on that since August, or oh, we watched that in film. I'm glad he fixed that.
Yeah.
And then also it's just I don't know, just the biggest thing was just developing the relationships and being there for everybody, just being someone that they can lean on to talk about anything and, stuff like that. So it's a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't see, but it's really cool. I loved it personally.
Yeah. Yeah, that's seriously awesome because that's kind of the way I was thinking of it too, is like almost like somebody like you who has really great character. I feel like almost like coaches, they're looking for that in a walk on
Oh,
as much as they're looking for somebody that.
they said something in the tryout, like, we got a packet about like this thick, like talking about like history of Arkansas basketball, all the different protocols you had to go by, like what they were looking for. It was a lot of information, and one of the biggest things was having good character, a great work ethic, because you got to be able to come in and work.
Hmm.
Um, and then a lot of like being able to have personal discipline. There's a lot of sacrifices going with being a Division I athlete. You don't have time to do like anything else other than school, work, and sleep, and eat. That's it. That's all you have time for, man. It's a lot, but yeah, definitely have to have great character, and you got to be able to, kind of learn to take the back seat and be okay with it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, being on a Division One a basketball team,
Yeah.
how much developing do you think you did in your skill set while you were on the team? Do you think that?
Oh, dude, a ton, man. Like I was thinking about that about like a month ago. I was like, man, where I was at my freshman year or even in high school to where I am now or where I was at the end of my junior year I was like, man, I was doing things that I've never thought I'd be able to do. Like whether that was dunking the ball, shooting the three better, my ball handling, whether I was in shape, like, or how good of shape I was in. Like I was being able to see the floor even more. Like the amount of developing I did from freshman to junior year was just uh, it was unbelievable. There's so much developing. It was great.
Yeah, that's awesome because I feel like whenever you're coming in as a walk-on, like you're probably not, the most like athletically gifted or like, you're not
Right.
getting noticed as much. So I think that's really awesome that a lot of times that you're almost kind of small-minded to what you can do. But since you're with those elite level of guys, you just kind of have to get to that
Yeah,
level.
yeah. It's like to be able to just compete. You're like, oh, be a better shooter. I gotta be a better passer. I gotta be a better ball handler. Like, it forces you to work on your game. Like, a lot of people that they'll get to, a certain skill set or whatever, and they get satisfied with it, and they're like, oh yeah, I don't need to work on this anymore. Like, I'm good.
Hmm.
But literally starting from like the bottom and seeing like the best player on the team, it's like I don't know. I don't know if I was like the only one that feels like it, but I was like, I'm trying to get to this dude's level. Like, even if it was like Dan Gafford, like Dan was like, we don't play the same position. He's 7 foot and I'm barely 6 foot.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to get as good as him. I'm trying to be a better rebounder than him, or I'm trying to jump higher than him. Like, it was just stuff like that where it pushes you every day to, or even like in the weight room and on the court, like, it pushes you every day to just be better. It
Hmm.
was, yeah, it's weird because like not a lot of people get it, but it's weird like being around all of the talent and stuff. It's like it just pushes you. It's crazy.
Yeah. And just you talking about that, I could tell the competitor in you is coming out. Just
Oh,
explaining that, like,
I- talking about like, man, if if I had my teammates in here, we'd be talking about like some of the one-on-one games and stuff that we had and stuff that we did in the weight room together. Like, it's so much fun, dude. But yeah, I get really amped up when I start talking about it because I don't get a ton of opportunities to talk about it in the real world. But whenever I
mhm.
do, I go all out with it.
Yeah, definitely. But I almost think that through a process like you went through, that can be very applicable to like all areas of life, not
Oh
just
yeah,
basketball.
one thing that I mean, now that I'm in the real world or whatever, like working and stuff, just taking like my worth ethic that I had when I was playing and applying that to life, it makes things seem just like so much easier because I mean, being an athlete, I don't want to like say that, being an athlete or being like a regular person is like completely different, but every day you want to come in and try and get better. But like, let's say someone has like an office job, they're going to be coming in and they're like, oh, I got this, and this to do today. Like, I'm just going to do it, get done. But like as an
Yeah.
athlete, you're like, all right, I got to get this, and this done. But like, I'm going to do it better, better, better every single day,
Hmm.
like, so it's kind of just two different worlds. But whenever you can take what you did from as an athlete for an athlete standpoint and transfer it over to your real world job or whatever you're doing, like it makes things seem so much easier because playing a sport's tough. It's hard. Like all the self-discipline you have to have, all of the dedication, all of the sacrifices you got to have. It's a lot. So when you get to real life and you start seeing all of these things, like all of the bad influences or even good influences, you're like, okay, I know what to stay away from because I was able to do that in college. Like it's even easier when you get to the real world, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. And I also kind of going back, I know I keep going back to your playing career, but um, just as a walk on, I feel like you don't really have room to have that bad attitude or be that bad apple. Like you have to be that guy in the room that's the positive, uplifting person all the
Oh yeah.
time.
Oh, 100%. You have to, man. You come with a bad attitude, like you're gonna get ripped, and it's just like I don't know if also like my mindset too. Whenever I was coming in and say I was having a bad day or whatever, and I get to
Hmm.
practice, I'm always thinking, I'm like, all right, if the wor- the worst player on the team can have a great attitude about going getting better,
Hmm.
then why can't like the best player do it?
Yeah.
I mean, like sometimes people look at the best player and they're like, oh yeah, they're our role model, but it's like, oh, Johnny's doing this. He's doing this at 150%. Like, you know what? I'm gonna do it at 150% because I don't want him to pass me up. So then that gets back to like being like a competitor. It's like, uh, you see someone that's worse than you or whatever at something. You're like, oh, I got to push to get better than them because I don't want them to pass me up.
Right.
So with a good attitude about anything, it really rubs off on other people. I've also noticed that at work, it's like a lot of people come in, they're just there just to get a check, like whatever. They don't really care about the business, or they're just there personal gain. Like that's all it is. But you come in with a positive energy, positive mindset about everything. It's like you can just see it like spread off onto people. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
someone came in with after having a bad day or whatever, and they're like all down and stuff like that. But you come in, you're like, oh man, hey, how's everything going? Like talking to them and kind of just bringing that energy back to them. And you can just see by like the end of the shift or whenever they're leaving, it's like, they're like, oh man, like I feel pretty good. And then they're ready to go out and, do something else. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So, I know we talked about like the physical changes and everything, but I want to talk more about the mental. So, what did you see in yourself mentally that just changed throughout that whole process?
man, oh man, what did I see change mentally? Oh, I mean, going back to high school, my mindset changed. I was all about just like, I always thought it was going to come naturally to me, but in high school, but it kind of clicked my junior year where I was like, oh, I got to work and, I'm going to go to work. Or actually, I take that back. It wasn't more of a, I have to go and do this. It's more of a, I want to go and do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's once you change that mindset to I don't want to go, or it's like I have to go to work versus like I want to go to work, it makes things like so much easier. Like, oh, I'm here to get back. I'm here for a reason. It's like, oh man, or instead of going in and be like, oh yeah, I have to be here. I'm just gonna go through the motions, like whatever, because that's when you don't see results. Also, like just having like a positive mindset about everything, because if you come in and you have a negative mindset about something or a negative energy, that really, being an athlete, it already had a ton of wear on you, and you didn't want to, bring yourself down even more, because, I mean, you're already getting, you have all these stuff already telling you what you're doing wrong. You don't want to be thinking like, oh man, I'm doing all this stuff wrong, like I'm worthless or whatever. You want to have that mindset of, okay, he's, be able to take that constructive criticism well, because they're not doing it to personally demoralize you or whatever. They're there to
Mm-hmm.
help you be a better player, be a better person, like all that. So so change your mindset from like having to do something versus wanting to do something, and then also just changing that negative mindset to positive mindset, and kind of seeing things from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think that once you made that decision, like I'm going all in for this goal to go D1, do you think that just like mentally, you were just like, I can't break. I've got to be just mentally stronger than I've ever been this whole time?
Oh, absolutely, dude. Because the amount of times that I heard from people in high school, like, oh man, let's go to the same school and we can have a blast or whatever. It's like, no, I don't really want to do that. I want to try and do something super special. So I had a ton of friends go to Missouri State. My three best friends, we were all four of us. So I had like this group of like four people that my three best friends from high school. They went to Truman State together. And I was like, oh man, it's like that'd be cool to go and hang out with these guys and kind of just kick it for 4 years. I was like, but man, I can't. I'm going to do something that nobody else has done for my town. Like I'm gonna
Yeah.
go to work, and I'm gonna do something that nobody's ever seen before. Trying to inspire some people. So yeah, whenever I decided to go all in on it, like I was like, I'm going all in, man. It's like that little baby song comes to
Yeah.
my head. Like I'm going all in all the time. So
Yeah.
even with my family, they're like, why don't you just like go to school? Like, you've been playing sports for so long. And I'm like, dude, I know I can do more. Like I'm going out and doing this. Yeah.
I love that. I seriously love that. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that kind of resonates with me too. Cause like, I think especially if you're in like a small town setting, and just like
Right.
if you're not really around, like, if you're at like a prep school and like everybody's going and playing a
Mm-hmm.
college sport and stuff, it's just really normal. But like in that setting, nobody really wants any more than what's right in
Right.
front of them.
Right. Exactly, man. I think coming from a small town it's something special, man. Not a lot of people get to say, I know 99% of my town, 99% of my people or whatever.
Hmm.
And then going back and just seeing them, like, I don't know, going back and like going to Subway or something. Like the person at the register is like, dude, man, what are you doing back in town? And I'm like, who are you, dude?
Yeah.
I've been following you. It's such a cool feeling, man, when you get to go back and they're like, yeah, dude, you did this, so it inspired me to do this. Like that just like it gives me butterflies, man. It's such a cool feeling, like seeing that and hearing people talk about your story to other people, because that's what it was all about. It wasn't like, yes, I wanted to do it for myself, but like at the same time, I wanted to do it for all of my people back home, like, just to inspire them to go out and, and have them think that they can accomplish the impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, because, coming from a small town, I mean, I'm sure coming from a small town is like, nobody gets to do those cool things like that. Go play a Division I sport, or
Mm-hmm.
go, run a company or whatever. It's all just, everybody kind of does the same thing. It's like, everybody goes to the school together or whatever, and they just, come back and they start working, for a local company or whatever. Like
Yeah.
it's all the same stuff, man.
Yeah, definitely. And so this is kind of like a take I have. So do you think that being a walk-on, that although you weren't necessarily like physically that D1 athlete going in, do you think that you were mentally a Division I athlete going in?
Oh, dude, like going in, yes, absolutely. And that's just from the mental aspect of just having personal confidence in myself, like
Mm-hmm.
saying, I can get to this point. Because a lot of guys coming out of high school that play Division I is more like it's like, I don't know, I don't want to say cocky per se, but they just have an extra sense of confidence about them. It's like, all right, yeah, I was a star in high school, like I'm gonna walk over everybody or whatever, I'm
Yeah.
gonna run for everybody. But you come in as a walk on, I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna outwork the next person. I'm gonna try and work my way up the ladder. So mentally, definitely think I was there. Obviously, physically, and I think having that mental Division I mentality helped me become like a Division I physically applicable person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So moving a little bit away from that. So your brother, he plays wide receiver for University of Illinois, right?
Right. Correct.
So how did having a brother like that impact your athletic career?
Oh, dude, him and I have a younger brother that is going to play baseball at St. Louis University.
Mm-hmm.
Having them in my life was it is the biggest blessing of my entire life, because Jordan was the most athletic of the family. So he was always like, he would be in like 5th grade, I would be in like 7th grade, and he was already better than I was at like all 3 sports as a 5th.
Yeah.
So always having him there always pushed me. I'm like, I can't let my little brother be better than me at this. Like so
Mm-hmm.
that always push me to work harder and just be even more of a competitor every single day. And we always had fun growing up with it. Always playing basketball in the driveway or playing wiffle ball. Like we always had a blast playing the sport. But I was like, I can't let my little brother beat me in anything. So even if we're like playing cards or something, he's like, I'm not losing to him. So
Yeah.
it just brings out that competitiveness, every day in whatever you're doing. So having both of them there, and then even Jack too. Jack is like he's like 6'4". I don't know. He's so much taller than everybody in our family. So, and he's always been super gifted at sports. I'm like, now if Jordan is better than me, like if Jack ever gets better than me, then like I have a problem with me, because like it was just like, not that he's like not a great athlete, he's a great athlete, but it's just from a competitive standpoint, I'm like, I can't let my little brothers be better than me. It's like, what am I doing as an older brother if they're already better than me at stuff? So
Yeah.
yeah.
So what was that like whenever like all three of you guys are now going to be playing Division I sports?
Oh, it's cool, man. It's really cool getting to see all the different sports. Kind of get to see all the backgrounds from all the different sports, like being able to talk to each other about different stuff and kind of comparing the sports hand in hand. It's really cool. I mean, I'm sure like 20 years down the road, we already have a lot of great stories to talk to each other about, but like 20 years down the road, being able to, kind of see where college sports are at, and like kind of seeing where we were at when we were
Mm-hmm.
playing, it'll be a super cool thing. But it also just kind of pushes us every day to be better than we were yesterday, because I mean, we all play different sports, and we're always looking to get better, as
Yeah.
always.
How do you think that you, especially with your Jordan, who he walked on to Illinois, didn't he?
Yes, that's correct.
So did he like how after you endured that walk on experience, were you able to give him some wisdom on how
Oh yeah,
to do
man.
that
I
at
mean,
Illinois?
absolutely, yeah. So like being a freshman, I just remember that being my hardest or the toughest year
Hmm.
because you don't know anybody on the team. You're kind of just there. You're kind of just plugged into a situation. Didn't really get to pick it per se, pick the situation you get to be in. But after when I was a junior and he was just coming in, he would be talking to me about the same exact stuff that I was going through whenever I was a freshman playing a Division I sport. Like, oh, how'd you do this, this, and this, or how'd you stay away from this, this, and this? And I was just like kind of giving him advice on always sticking to the grind because a lot of times you're like, man, I just want to give up, man. But he was always talking to me about this being super tough, and I was just like, yeah, just stick to it, man. Like it's all gonna work out. Like I know you're really good at your sport. Like just keep going at it, man. Like great things are gonna come. So just always just using my past experience just to try and help them out because that's my job as an older brother is to help my little brothers become super successful in life and always being there for them. So that's kind of my role as a brother.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good. So, a lot of times on your Instagram, I see you posting stuff about like being positive mentally. I see you posting stuff about your faith, and
Yeah.
that's amazing. So, where do you think a lot of that comes from?
I think a lot of it comes from my mom and my dad.
Hmm.
They they're never really negative. They were never, still are never negative about anything. Uh, they've raised me to always think about the better things in life or the better outcome in life. You don't want to ever be thinking like, um, let's say I don't know. Let's use sports as an example. It's like, all right, it's 6-4 going into the bottom of the ninth or whatever. It's like, oh, we're 3 outs away. It's more of a, I don't know, how can we how can we at least tie it up and extend the game and give ourselves a chance.
Hmm.
Uh, they've always taught me to never think negatively about anybody or any situation. Always to respect everybody, treat people how you want to be treated, um, and just always having that positive mindset about stuff because life's tough, man. A lot of people, kind of just put on cruise control. But when you want to try and do something great, man, it's hard. It wears on you mentally and physically. Especially nowadays with all like this stuff going on. A lot of people being put in self isolation. It's it wears on your head. You do a lot of thinking during that time, and it can. I mean, right, whatever you're thinking about, it can be a super struggle. So just being able to shed some light. I just want to be able to use my social media about spreading light onto people and just helping people get through whatever may be getting through. Because I mean, I don't know what everybody's going through in life, but if one person can see one of my posts about something, it's like, oh man, like every once in a while I'll get someone to slip up and be like, oh thanks, I needed to hear that. And I'm like, oh well, that's why I put it on. I just want one person to see it and be like, oh, you kind of changed their day.
Yeah, yeah. That's amazing because I think a lot of people don't really, or they're not really outward about that. Like they kind of say that they are, but they're not really going out of their way to post stuff and talk about it all the time. And I like that you do that.
Like my social media, like growing up, like I was always about like, oh man, I want to try and make this look as perfect as possible because it like defines me or whatever. And then now as I get older, I'm like, man, I can use this as or as something else to kind of shed light on people and give people something to look at, something that's not negative. I'm not about any of that, those negative vibes about anybody. Um, I know me and Mason Jones, we always would talk about, man, I would text him every single day. I text him, good morning, man. Let's get after it. It's another day to get better. And that kind of that'll propel my day to, kind of have that mindset of, all right, man, me and like, we're in this together. Let's get after it.
Yeah.
But yeah, my social media thing, it's like, uh, I've always wanted it to be perfect, but now I'm just like, man, who cares? I'm gonna be myself, man. I'm not gonna let people influence me.
Yeah, yeah. And so I wanna finish up with this this question. So as you just talked about Mason Jones and how you guys were kind of accountable and you guys were, texting
Right.
each other, how did almost like a team being like a brotherhood, how much did that impact you being able to get through those difficult situations?
It was awesome, man. I mean, it made it easier for sure. Um, Especially like my junior year. I've already been a walk on 2 years for 2 years. Um, but me and that off season before, me and Desi Sills got really close. Me and Mason got super close. We would always wake up every single morning and we text each other. All right, man, try and get some work in at like
Mm-hmm.
7. All right, man, let's go. Let's hit the gym right before class. And we'd get in there and a lot of people posting stuff on social media about like, oh yeah, I'm getting this work in, but we just take each other on the side and be like, all right, man, let's go get some work in. And then I'm like, oh man, Desi texted me. I'm like laying in bed. I'm like, Desi's going up there. I'm like, man, I gotta go. I have to. So like, I went up, get dressed, and get over there. Or even like when we're just after practice, we're like, all right, man, you want to try and get some shots up? And I'm like, oh, dude, I'm like, I'd rather go home and sleep. But I was like, all right, man, I'll stay. Whatever, we'll stay an extra hour and shoot. But or even it'd be the other way around. It'd be like, I'm like, all right, man, let's hit the gym, bro. Let's go get a workout in. And they're like, all right, bro, dude, I'm so tired. I'm like, all right, man. I'm like, I'm gonna go get better today. And they're like, be up there in like 10 minutes. So, it helped out a ton, especially when you just have to be consistently on your grind. It helped out a lot having those people there. Cause then it's also super cool getting to see those results, translate into the game and then, into practice even. It's like, it's super cool saying like, oh yeah, we worked on that this morning. It's like, or yeah, we've been practicing, we've been working on our vertical or whatever. So like someone throws down a dunk or something, and you're like, that's good. Like, it's just like, oh, that's awesome, dude. Getting to see that kind of transition over from, kind of when nobody was watching to when everybody is.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. That's what it's all about. And I love that.
Oh yeah.
So that's all I have. Is there anything else that you wanna add?
Man, dude, other than if you have a dream, whoever hears this little talk show,
Mm-hmm.
if you have a dream, man, go get it. Don't let anybody impede any of your progress. Go out and get it, bro. Go
Yeah.
get it. That's my motto, man. Go get it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I will. And so, do you have a name for your podcast? We can go ahead and chat it out.
Yeah, it's called More Than an Athlete. I plan on releasing it probably this Sunday. It's called More Than an Athlete. I still got to create the social media pages, but just be on the lookout for it.
Gotcha. And all of his social medias will be in the link or in the description below. So, guys, go follow him. Go check him out. He radiates tons of positivity, and I think it's his social media is just really awesome. So, appreciate you doing this, Johnny.
Yeah. I appreciate you having me on, man. It's awesome. You got something super cool going on here, dude. Keep it going.
Yeah, I appreciate that.